Well, good morning, everybody. I'm coming to you today from the Smokemont Campground, just outside of Cherokee, North Carolina, and just inside the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. It's about 5 miles from the town of Cherokee. Now, hear that woodpecker? I don't know if y'all heard that or not. A few years back, we camped here, and the camping trip was kind of a disaster because we ended up having to pack up and go home early because all our stuff got wet. That's not going to happen this time. But anyway, I did a walkthrough of the tent sites, and a lot of you have very, very nicely thanked me for doing that. I've noticed since I started doing these campground walkthroughs, a lot more of them are popping up, which is a good thing because that's something that needed to be done a long time ago. I know when we were trying to book a campsite at Balsam Mountain years ago, I couldn't find anything except pictures because nobody had done campground walkthroughs at that time. So I decided I was going to start doing them anytime we went to a campground. I was going to start doing a walkthrough showing the sites to help you decide what site looks good for you if you want to book ahead of time. It's just a lot easier if you can see the site or have some kind of visual. So anyway, I did that. A lot of you have let me know that you appreciated it and that you actually booked your campsite based on that video. We booked this campsite last night, B14, based on our own video. I had to go back and rewatch it and find a site that was available for 3 nights, and this one looked like a good one from that video. I want to do an improved version of that today. I want to go through, I'm going to try it on an e-bike, so if you hear the e-bike noise, try to overlook that. It's just a lot quicker to ride, and this is a large campground. It took me like 45 minutes to walk it last time. So anyway, we're going to try it on an e-bike, and I'm going to try to give you a much smoother video than what that first one was. So let's do a walkthrough of Smokemont Campground, and let's see what the sites are, and hopefully it will help you if you decide to camp here, which site you'd like to book. So come along with us. Okay, the first thing I want you to notice as you come in, this is a bear habitat, specifically black bear. They are all over the Smokies. Food storage regulations enforced. That means that you have to keep your cooler or any food stuff put up when you're not using it, or if you leave your campsite. You can't leave it out. They will impound your cooler or whatever it happens to be. Also, campers must register before occupying campsite. The registration office is right up here on the left. You'll get in the left lane to register. Let them know you're here. Right lane is for through traffic if you've already registered and you're just coming back to your campsite from town or something. So anyway, do recommend reservations here. You can make reservations at recreation.gov, and you can just go in there and specifically put the campsite or campground that you want to reserve at. All of the Smokies campgrounds are reservable through there. I'm not saying they wouldn't give you a site if you just drove up, but I wouldn't depend on that. I would go ahead and have my reservation done, and right here is where you do that. You stop here and you pay. Or if you made it online, of course, you've already paid because you have to pay at the time of reservation. So section A is to the left. We're going to do that one last. I know you think, why wouldn't you do that first? Because it's kind of, as you're leaving the campground, there's not very many campsites to it. So B through F are the primary locations. So the first site you come to here on the left is site B1. It's a good shady spot. It's spacious. Most of the campsites in Smokemont are pretty spacious. Maybe don't afford a lot of privacy, but they are spacious, most of them. So I'm not going to make a commentary on each one unless something stands out to me, like it's a shady site or it's spacious. Here's B2, and that's a pretty good little site. You're definitely in the shade there. If you want your tent under the shade, that's a good one for you right there. Here's B3. This one's occupied, and that looks like a good spacious site there. Actually, no, I was looking into the one behind it. So this is B3 with a green tent. It's got a decent space to it. All right, so coming up here on the left is site B4. Decent looking site. I just want you to be able to see each one and decide for yourself. The e-bike experiment riding on that did not work out well, so I'm on foot now. Probably do the last leg of it. She may drive me through, but right now she's getting ready. So I told her I'd start this part on foot. Here's B5. And again, there are no really bad sites in Smokemont. Bear-proof dumpster. Now, this little road to my left, this is what we call a pull-through. What I'm going to do is do the main outer loop sites first, then I'm going to come back and do the pull-throughs. It just seems like it would be easier that way and a lot less walking on me. So, when I say pull-through, that means this road to the right is the outer part of the loop, and you just make a loop and exit the other end down there by our truck. And you've got these little roads that connect the two outer loops. And there's sites on those little pull-through roads too. So that's what I will feature those last. So now we're coming into the C section, C1. And again, if people are outside, I want to be respectful, but they're not outside, so anyway, yeah, it's all right. Here's C2. Little small tent there. Site C3, and he is sweeping off his tarp. And this is a different camera than what we've been using. I want to apologize. When I'm walking, I've noticed when we were in Glacier, you hear some internal noise, like something knocking. I hope you're not hearing that, but if you are, that's something internally with the camera. It's a new camera, but my older one, same model, ZV1, did it even worse. So we switched to this newer one, and this camera's been basically sitting in the box for 2 years because if you remember when we were in San Antonio a few years back, my other one fell off onto the concrete and I thought it was ruined. I actually got it working again, so I've been using it for the last 2 years. It's finally starting to have a lot of internal noise, so we switched to this one. So I hope you're not hearing a lot of that, but if you are, nothing I can do about that. Here's C5. Now, the plus of that one is if you want a site right near the bathroom, and people are mixed on that. Some people like to be near the bathroom in case they got to get there in a hurry. Other people don't care for it because you hear the commodes flushing all the time and people walking and talking. So it's a mixed bag, just whatever your preference is. That is a nice looking site though, very, very spacious, lots of room. C6. It looks a little smaller, but still not bad. C7. You got a tree right over the tent pad, so if you're interested in a lot of shade, not a huge site, but it's decent. And here is C8. 2 tents on that pad. The tent pads are pretty good size here, so you can get 2 decent sized tents on one of them, or definitely even one very large tent on any of them. So there's C8. Alright, so the walk-through has now become a ride-through in the truck. So I got it on the gimbal holding it out the window, and Shaughnessy is steering for me. Alright, so right here you got a nice little grassy area. I don't know, there's a table there. I don't know what site. I don't know if that's not really a site, but just a nice little grassy area right here. And looks like we're coming up on D1. And D1 has its own little pull-through access right here. And that's a decent sized site. It's kind of more in the open. You're going to get more sunlight right there. Here's D2. Trying to wear the microphones, hopefully that's drowning out the sound of the truck engine. Right here is D3. D4 right here, that's decent. I mean, they're all decent, really. But they got their own little pull-throughs right here. This is D5. And D5 has access to water. So you're very close to the little water station right there. That's a good, shady, good sized site right there. D6, that is probably one of the smaller ones in here. I think I would probably not want D6, just me. Here's D7. A little better than D6. D8. These are probably your smaller ones right here, I'm guessing. D9, you're right next to the bathroom right there. Maybe a little bit more space there in D9. I like those old campers like that, those vintage looking campers. That's cool. Here's D10. I'm not a fan of these D ones right here. They each got their own little pull through, but they're just, I don't know, seem a little cramped to me. D11. That one's okay. D12. D13, you've got another water station here. Those water fountains also have a lower spigot if you need to fill up a 5-gallon bucket, like we've been doing for our showers. That's D13. Here's D14. D15. Now that's a nice site right there. D15, you're right there next to the bathroom, and you got plenty of space right there. The fire pit. When we got here last night, our table was basically on top of the fire pit, almost right beside of it, like a foot apart. Look at the space there you got, which those tables are movable too, so we moved it away, but that's a good site. Plenty of shade right there. If you want to be out of the sun, D15 would be a good option for you. D16, pretty shady, a little smaller. D17, that's a good spacious site there. So these D sites are improving. There's D18, and that's a small one, right after I say that. Right. D19. So evidently you can run a generator in D, so that's a good size site right there. D19 is. There's plenty of parking right down here at the end too. You got a little parking space across. Sorry about the wheel there. So D19, man, they got an out. I don't know what they're setting up. That's quite an outfit now. Do we go down the middle part here?
I don't know if we do or not.
I don't know. I may have to make another round here. I'm not sure.
I couldn't see how the roads were angled.
Yeah, let me figure this out. We're going to go down the outer part right now, but that is, see, I can't see the site numbers. I ain't sure what to do right here.
Well, no, they're coming back this way.
All right, so I'm having to go up one of those middle access roads now. Hope I'm getting everything. But this is going to be D20, and that's going to be more of a sunny site, kind of out in the open. Seems like you got a little less privacy up through here, especially with people riding through here recording. D21, I'm not a fan of D21. Here's D22, kind of small, but shady. Here's D23. And here's the bathhouse for this section. Here's D24. Not really a fan. D25. D26. D27, that says warning sewer manhole. Yeah, that I'd probably try to avoid that one if I could. Last thing you want to do when you're camping is fall down the sewer. D28. Got another bathhouse. Those are pretty close together, wasn't they?
Yeah, they are.
I call them bathhouses again. They don't have showers. They are just restrooms and sink. Here's D29. What's this child here? D30. Plenty of space in D30. He's got a big outfit right there. D31. And of course you can see there's enough space in these for a big good sized camper. There's D32. Watch her too. I tell you, these children in this campground's got a lot more manners than kids at our church do. They run out in front of you every time you're trying to leave. That's the truth, though. Okay, so right here is D33. And the last time we were here and it rained us out, we were, I think, in D34, I want to say.
Yeah, I think so.
So there's D34. And we took that because it was one of the last ones available. I wouldn't really want it again. It wasn't bad, but there's 35. And the bathhouse right here is just over to the right. D36, and this is designated as an RV site. All right, so here's D37. It says that's the camp host. All right, so let me get this back out the window. Here's D38. Most of these D sites, I'm just not a huge fan. Here's D39. They are from Grovetown, Georgia. So give them a shout out. I didn't catch the name. Here's the Palmers, D40. D41, here's another old camper. I love these old looking campers, especially the red and white ones. You know that one we always see in Cades Cove? They come every year, same time we do. Window unit, air conditioner, look at that. D42, that's a pretty good little site there. That's got plenty of space to it. Lots of shade. And here's D43, a little smaller but still shady. D44. D45, they got them little mailbox there. Now up here to the right, we're going to go into the group camping area. That's if you got a youth group or some kind of large gathering. I'm not sure the minimum requirements for group camping as far as how many, but here's the parking for that. Back out just a little bit. And the group camping is the only campsites here in Smokemont that are right directly by the river. But you can hear the river from pretty much anywhere in the campsite. But we'll stop here in just a minute and give you a good river view. But got a lot of group camps today. I'm assuming maybe some youth groups or scouts or something. Yeah, they got some big setups here. Okay, so I know we ended the first segment with C8. We're back in the C loop now, C9. I don't guess it really matters if everything's in order or not. You're still going to get to see the sights, so that's what's important. Here is C10. Shady, not bad. And so let me back out a little bit more. Here's site C11, right beside the bathhouse. All right, coming up on C12. And I guess that's going to conclude the C sites, except for the pull-throughs, because we're in D14 and that's our site right there. I'm sorry, B14. Well, I think I just said D. We're in B14, but that's on a pull-through, so we'll get that a little bit later. Yeah, so here is B15, good open site right there. Probably going to have some intermittent shade and some sun coming through on that one. I personally, when I'm camping, I want the shadiest sites I can get. I don't know what that one is. That's B17 right there. That's actually on a pull-through. Look at that setup right there. That's B31. There's B32, decent little site, very shady, some decent space in it. Here is a handicap site, B33. So if you're in need of a handicap site, there's one. Here's B34, a little bit smaller site. B35. Right next to a bathhouse. And right next to the dumpster. There's B36, very small. Well, it's not too small, but that's a little close to the bathroom for my liking. B37. I'm not sure what that one is because it's on a pull-through. All right, so now we're in the A loop, which is very small. These are some good sites right here. You're right by the river, and in fact, I'm going to show you that here in a minute. I'm going to show you the sites. Here's A5. But every one of the A sites have good river access, I guess, except for 1 through 4. Here's A6. Nice and grassy area. Pull over to the right here. All right, I'm going to get out and show you the river right here. So from the A sites I just showed you right beyond the truck there, you just walk across the road, and right there you've got this beautiful river to just sit here and listen to and relax, pull you up a chair. I love rivers that go through campgrounds. I love rivers anyway, but very nice, very peaceful. Okay, there's site B17. All right, site B18. I think we may have gotten that one a moment ago, but I'll get it just to be sure. This is B19. There's site B20. Pretty small site. Site B21, good shady site, not huge. B23. B24. Okay, this is B25 right here, good spacious site. And B27 right there, kind of sunny there. All right, here's another handicap site, B26. So if you're in need of that, and there's another one right beside of it, B28. That's unoccupied, a little bit smaller site, and it's close to the bathhouse. This is site B29. Not really much to that one. And there's site B30. That's about as close to the bathroom as you'd ever want to be. Now we're coming up on the greatest site ever invented. That is site A1. And y'all who watch us get the reference there. A1. It's actually, as far as the campsites go, wouldn't be my preference, but A3 right here. You're back up against the woods right there. All right, and here is site A2. And this one we're coming up on now is A4. This is site B7 right here. Site B8, easy access to the bathroom, pretty decently spaced outside and pretty shaded. This is site B9, kind of small but very shaded. Site B10, pretty good space, pretty shady, and easy bathroom access. Site B11, looks like some sun peeking through on that one, but still pretty much in the shade. Here's site B12, nice and spacious, easy bathroom access. The only problem with this one, if you want shade all day, pretty open canopy right there. I think when the sun's high in the sky, you're going to get some sun on you right here. Okay, well, we hope you enjoyed this walkthrough / drive-through of each site at Smokemont Campground. I think I got them all in this video. I am going to attach at the end of this video where you see other videos pop up. I will put the RV walkthrough there, or drive-through, whichever I do. I'm going to do that in a separate video because this one's already long enough. So anyway, I do thank you for watching. I hope this is better than the last one, which was kind of not very steady as I was walking and trying to record at the same time. Have some improved gimbal equipment now that I did not have a couple of years ago. But anyway, hope this gives you an idea of what you want when you're booking. The one thing I will say about this campground, most of the sites are really good and spacious and shady, with a few exceptions. The bad part about this campground is it's not an easy campground to navigate. That's why the sites are all out of order in this video, and I'm not going to go back and try to put them in order. Because of the pull-throughs, the numbers get off from if you just go the outer loop, because you got on these little pull-through roads, you got numbers there too that go with the outer loop, and then it just gets very confusing. But you're getting to see each site anyway, so that's the main thing, and I try to name what site it is as I go by it. But anyway, hope this helps. If you like this video, like and subscribe, and find and follow us on Facebook, and have a blessed day.